So before I get started, let me apologize for two things. I have a light right here and a window right here, so there's tons of glare on these glasses, which I apologize for. I also have these little guys right here that might potentially be distracting, so sorry about that. I wanted to make a video talking about the Paragard IUD because I've had a fairly positive experience with it overall, and every review that I found, video review that I found when I was looking into it was negative, and it really bummed me out, made me really sad. I thought I was going to have this horrible experience, but I wanted to try it anyway. And I did, and it's been fine. And so I just wanted to put that out there into the world in case anybody's real freaked out like I was. Now Paragard is the copper IUD that's non-hormonal, and it's a non-barrier method. It's non-hormonal. It kind of sounds too good to be true, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, I love it. That's why I'm making this video. But there are downfalls. I've had a few negative. I have a few cons, but I'll get into that. So before the Paragard, I was on the pill, specifically Yaz, for 3 years, and I was put on Yaz because I have really, really bad acne, and it was the only thing that would clear up my skin, and it did a great job. But I had clear skin and chronic migraines and hypothyroidism and all these ugly, ugly things. I was almost 200 pounds because this pill was just wreaking havoc on my body. So I decided to get off of it, and I felt much better overall off of the hormones. Again, highly recommend getting off the pill if you can. Didn't really know what to do for birth control, so I read Taking Charge of Your Fertility and I began charting my cycles. Loved it. Okay, it's a great option if you're looking for something non-hormonal, and if you have the willpower, I guess, or if you think that you'll really take it seriously and do it correctly, chart your cycle. It's great. You need a thermometer. End of list. Like, it's so easy. You just take your temperature every morning. There are a few other symptoms that you track, and that's all you have to do. But I was at the end of it was the end of the year for my insurance, and I thought, what have I kind of always wanted to do, but haven't had the money for, or have been too lazy to do, whatever. So I decided to call and find out about an IUD, specifically the Paragard, because like I said, I was over anything hormonal. And called my insurance, and they said it's covered 100%. It's considered a preventative measure because babies are real expensive for them. So I scheduled an appointment with my doctor. You don't have to have a consult or anything. I just called the office. They asked what IUD specifically that I wanted, told them Paragard, because it took like a week for them to order it or something, make sure that they had the device there, and that was it. I went in a week later and got this IUD. So here's where the majority of my complaints come in. The insertion of this thing was the most god-awful pain I've ever experienced. I've got tattoos, I get kidney stones, I get horrible, horrible menstrual cramps. I have digestive problems. Like, I have a pretty high pain threshold at this point, and this motherfucker hurts so bad. So what it's like, you go in just like you're getting a pap smear. You put your feet in the stirrups. They open up your vagina. They go in with a long, like, cotton swab looking thing, and they try to get through your cervix. I happen to be doing this at completely the wrong time of the month. My cervix was like glued shut. So that's where you start experiencing pain. They're trying to get this thing into your cervix and your uterus is cramping like it has never cramped before. Okay, maybe this is what childbirth feels like, I don't know. But it was horrible. And they couldn't get this thing in. So they took these even longer clamps and clamped down on, like, kind of far back on my cervix so that the opening of it would expand, I guess. That's kind of how she explained it to me. So with that and a lot more poking and prodding, she finally was able to get this thing in, and dear God, like, I wasn't screaming, but it was not a good situation. So this thing is in, and that's basically, I mean, that's she clipped the strings, she kind of did a few other things, she tucked my strings back so they don't poke out. Other than that, like, once it was in, the pain was over. I had a light cramping on and off for probably like 2 weeks, and then that was it. So my period came, I don't know, 3 weeks probably from the time I had this thing inserted. And something that they tell you at the doctor's office is that you're going to have heavier periods and you're going to have more intense cramping. Both of those things are very true. I had heavier periods, and my already pretty bad menstrual cramps got worse. But not unbearable. I mean, they tell you that when you go in, you expect it, like you're asking for a non-hormonal, non-barrier method of birth control. There's going to be negative side effects. You have a foreign object in your body. Your body's not going to like it. So honestly, that's it. Those are my only complaints. It hurts like a motherfucker when you get it put in, unless you're on your period or ovulating right at that moment, because then your cervix is a little bit wider open. But and then I just more cramping, more flow. But to combat, I just bought a menstrual cup, and I use that instead of pads or tampons. So I'm not spending more on those products, helping the environment, etc., etc. But I mean, really, it's been a great experience. Obviously, I've had it for several months now. I've had several periods with this thing, and it hurts, but it is what it is. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's certainly very effective. No babies so far, and I'm really quite happy with it. And I just want to say, like, if you're freaked out, try and go when you're on your period, or if you know when you're going to ovulate or whatever, like, try and make the appointment for when your cervix is going to be a little bit wider. Take ibuprofen or something before. That's an anti-inflammatory, so that's what they told me to take. It's probably your best bet for a painkiller before. And I mean, no, it's gonna hurt a little bit. Like, it is what it is. It's kind of scary, but I think it's worth it for no babies. So yeah, I love my Paragard, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who is too damn lazy to chart their cycles and doesn't want the hormones. It's a great option. So